Africa's ancient river, a shimmering vein of life, cradles countless creatures from misty highlands to sunlit deltas. Migratory birds dwindle, their wings scarce against the horizon. Fields that bloomed with abundance lie parched and silent beneath the Nile's tranquil surface. Predators wait, their eyes glinting with hunger. Beauty and danger dance in fragile harmony, but for how long? The Nile River, stretching 4,135 miles across 11 nations, pulses as Africa's lifeline, sustaining countless species from Lake Tana to the Mediterranean Sea. In Lake Tana, hippos churn the waters, shaping ecosystems for fish and birds. Across the Sud, shoebills stand motionless, mastering patient hunts. In the Nile Delta, millions of flamingos paint the sky pink, enduring vast migrations. But this paradise is shadowed by warming climates and polluted currents. Once cradling civilizations, can this mighty river withstand today's perils? Lake Tana shines like a mirror at sunrise, calm, golden, and alive. Here, 300 to 400 hippos dominate. Their massive bodies disturb the water as they submerge. It's loud, raw, and unforgettable. But their true legacy lies in what's left behind. Each day, a single hippo produces up to 55 pounds of dung, rich in nitrogen and phosphorus. This waste fertilizes the lake, promoting the growth of aquatic plants like water hyacinth, which sustains tilapia and other fish species. These fish attract predators like the African fish eagle. With over 400 bird species recorded around the lake, these hippos aren't just surviving, they're building a living engine, shaping the rhythm of the river itself. Yet today, that rhythm is breaking. Climate change is reshaping Lake Tana. Rainy seasons come too hard or not at all. Water levels swing wildly. When the rains stop, the shoreline shrinks. The hippos have less space, the plants fade, and the fish disappear. Eagles cry out over empty waters. The hippo stands revealed not only as a symbol of brute force but as a quiet architect of balance. Yet their work depends on stability. As the world shifts, this delicate harmony teeters, an ecosystem on the brink. The Sud Swamp, covering 22,000 square miles, ranks as Africa's largest wetland, filtering water for the White Nile. Amid the towering reeds, shoebills rise as birds of rarity. Their slate-gray forms remain motionless, statues in the fog, eyes locked on the still water below. Time drips slowly, the silence nearly sacred. Then, in a flash, a lungfish surfaces, and the shoebill strikes. Its beak, massive and exact, clamps down with brutal precision. One perfect hunt, one hard-earned meal. The shoebill is more than a bird. It's a master of stillness, showing efficiency in a challenging habitat. But that world is changing fast. Across the Nile Basin, more than 30% of wetlands have already vanished, claimed by heat, drained by human hands. The Sud is shrinking, waterways dry, and lungfish disappear. The shoebill waits longer, strikes less, survives on thinner odds. Each lost patch of swamp echoes like a fading heartbeat. These animals endure, but they are not invincible. The Sud, once a sanctuary of shadows and silence, now sends a warning. A disappearing refuge that needs our attention before the mist clears for good. The Nile Delta stretches 9,300 square miles, serving as a vital stopover for migratory birds along the African-Eurasian flyway. Into this glowing landscape come the greater flamingos, millions strong, their wings painting the horizon with streaks of pink. These animals follow ancient migration routes, flying thousands of miles from Europe and Asia to reach this final fertile breath of the Nile. Here, they wade through briny shallows, sifting for shrimp and algae with their signature curved beaks, a delicate rhythm that sustains both bird and marsh. Their arrival turns the delta into a vibrant intersection of life, a seasonal spectacle of color and grace. But even beauty this bold is not immune to harm. Microplastics now lace the waters, contaminating fish and unsettling the fragile food chain beneath these birds' feet. Expanding farmland drains the wetlands, stripping away the habitat the flamingos depend on. The pools grow still, the feast grows thin. The sky, once streaked with movement, begins to quiet. Migration has always been one of nature's great wonders, but as the Nile's pulse weakens, that story risks being cut short. Their vibrant journey is now a silent warning. Without protection, even the most timeless wings may fail to find a place to land. Lake Victoria, Africa's largest lake at 26,600 square miles, supports 30,000 to 50,000 Nile crocodiles. They ambush prey like tilapia and antelope with a bite force of 3,700 pounds per square inch. Their presence shapes the ecosystem, each adult consuming up to 15 pounds of meat a day, helping to regulate fish populations and maintain ecological balance. But that balance is tipping. Overfishing has reduced prey by 30% since the 1990s, while pollution weakens water quality. Females lay 25 to 80 eggs, but rising temperatures disrupt hatching. These predators anchor the lake's balance, but their dominance is under pressure. As human impact intensifies, the lake's guardians face a future shaped not by nature but by us. The Nile River faces three critical threats: murky waters choked with plastic, cracked wetland beds at Lake Victoria, and the towering Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. Climate change drives temperatures up 1.2 degrees Celsius since the 1980s, with forecasts predicting a 3.6 degree rise by century's end. This has dried 30% of wetlands in the Nile Delta and Lake Victoria, shrinking habitats for shoebills and fish. Their arrival turns the delta into a vibrant intersection of life, a seasonal spectacle of color and grace. But even beauty this bold is not immune to harm. Microplastics now lace the waters, contaminating fish and unsettling the fragile food chain beneath these birds' feet. Expanding farmland drains the wetlands, stripping away the habitat the flamingos depend on. The pools grow still, the feast grows thin. The sky, once streaked with movement, begins to quiet. Migration has always been one of nature's great wonders, but as the Nile's pulse weakens, that story risks being cut short. Their vibrant journey is now a silent warning. Without protection, even the most timeless wings may fail to find a place to land. Lake Victoria, Africa's largest lake at 26,600 square miles, supports 30,000 to 50,000 Nile crocodiles. They ambush prey like tilapia and antelope with a bite force of 3,700 pounds per square inch. Their presence shapes the ecosystem, each adult consuming up to 15 pounds of meat a day, helping to regulate fish populations and maintain ecological balance. But that balance is tipping. Overfishing has reduced prey by 30% since the 1990s, while pollution weakens water quality. Females lay 25 to 80 eggs, but rising temperatures disrupt hatching. These predators anchor the lake's balance, but their dominance is under pressure. As human impact intensifies, the lake's guardians face a future shaped not by nature but by us. The Nile River faces three critical threats: murky waters choked with plastic, cracked wetland beds at Lake Victoria, and the towering Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. Climate change drives temperatures up 1.2 degrees Celsius since the 1980s, with forecasts predicting a 3.6 degree rise by century's end. This has dried 30% of wetlands in the Nile Delta and Lake Victoria, shrinking habitats for shoebills and fish. Pollution adds pressure. 10% of fish carry microplastics, while agricultural chemicals reduce oxygen levels, cutting food supplies for flamingos and other species. Human intervention adds another layer. The dam, holding 74 billion cubic meters, shifts flows, and overfishing in Lake Victoria threatens Nile perch stocks, down 30% since the 1990s. At Lake Victoria, the crisis is visible. Once lush wetlands now lie parched, forcing shoebills to search harder for lungfish amid cracked mud. Their population strains as prey dwindles. Yet restoration offers hope. Revived wetlands see shoebills return, striking fish with precision once more. Conservation efforts fight back. In the Nile Delta, 15,000 acres of wetlands have been restored since 2010, boosting water bird populations by 30%, including flamingos and herons. The Clean Nile Initiative, launched in 2015, has cut toxic chemicals by 40%, improving water quality for fish and birds across the basin. Over 500 tons of plastic waste have been removed, aiding species recovery. These steps show the Nile's ecosystem, though in distress, can rebound with timely action. Lake Victoria's losses mirror the Delta's struggles, tying the Nile's journey to its survival. Climate shifts, pollution, and dams threaten the animals that define it, from shoebills to perch. Yet restoration proves change is possible. The cry for help echoes through its waters, but determined efforts light a path to recovery. The Nile River isn't just a river, it's a living artery of Africa. From hippos stirring up the waters of Lake Tana, keeping fish and plants thriving, to shoebills standing silent in the sud, striking with unmatched precision, to flamingos painting the Nile Delta skies pink as they migrate, this river pulses with life. And it does so every single day. But nature can't do it alone. Here in the U, we throw out 40 million tons of plastic each year. Some of it makes its way to rivers like the Nile. Want to make a difference? Start small. Skip the single-use plastics, switch that disposable straw for a reusable one, cut back on water. An average household uses 300 gallons a day. Fix that leak, take shorter showers, and don't keep this story to yourself. Share this documentary, talk about it, get others to care. Because action works. Along the Nile, 15,000 acres of wetlands have been restored, 500 tons of trash removed, hippos once again roam free in Tana, shoebills hunt in the sud, and flamingos soar over healthy delta skies. As the sun sets on the river, the Nile glows gold, whispering a promise, a future still within reach. Every step you take today helps keep that promise alive tomorrow. Got ideas? Share them in the comments. The river's listening. And if you believe in stories that inspire action, hit that like button and turn on notifications. Every click helps bring more voices to nature's fight and more hope to rivers like the Nile. Across the arid landscape of Sudan, the Nile is more than just a river. It's the essence of survival, and here, innovative adaptation to the harsh environment defines the Nubian people. For centuries, they've harnessed the Nile's ebb and flow, crafting ingenious irrigation systems that coax life from the desert. Known as the Sakia, these water wheels lift water from the river to nourish fields of sorghum, beans, and vegetables. These are not merely crops but threads in the fabric of Nubian culture, integral to feasts, ceremonies, and daily sustenance. But what happens when the water slows, when the river's generosity diminishes? The Nubian spirit faces a stern test as climate change tightens its grip. Erratic rains and prolonged droughts threaten to dry up leaving fields barren and communities vulnerable. Yet, even in these trying conditions, resilience prevails. The Nubian people, deeply rooted in their heritage, find new ways to conserve and share resources. Modern water-saving techniques such as drip irrigation are integrated alongside traditional methods, demonstrating a balanced approach to sustainability. Moreover, community-led initiatives focus on education, teaching younger generations the importance of environmental stewardship and the value of their cultural heritage. The narrative now shifts to the bustling city of Cairo, a metropolis of over 20 million inhabitants that relies heavily on the Nile for its existence. Here, the river is a source of drinking water, an artery for commerce, and a vein of life that sustains the city's vibrant energy. But this intimate relationship with the Nile comes at a cost. The pressures of urbanization and industrialization have turned parts of the river into a dumping ground for waste and pollution. Every day, tons of untreated sewage and industrial effluent pour into the Nile, contaminating its waters and endangering aquatic life. The consequences are far-reaching, affecting not only the health of the ecosystem but also the well-being of millions of people who depend on the river for their daily needs. However, amidst these challenges, there's a growing movement to restore the Nile to its former glory. Local communities, environmental organizations, and government agencies are joining forces to clean up the river and protect its precious resources. Ambitious projects are underway to upgrade wastewater treatment facilities, reduce industrial pollution, and promote responsible water management practices. Upstream, in the Ethiopian highlands, lies Lake Victoria, the Nile's largest source. Millions here depend on its waters for sustenance and livelihoods. But invasive water hyacinth, exacerbated by nutrient runoff, now threatens to suffocate the lake, disrupting ecosystems and livelihoods. Imagine the scene: fishermen struggling to navigate through the dense mats of weeds, their nets empty, their families hungry. What future awaits them if the lake continues to decline? Yet, amidst this crisis, innovative solutions are emerging. Local entrepreneurs are turning the water hyacinth into valuable resources, such as compost, biogas, and even furniture. These initiatives not only help to clear the lake but also create jobs and generate income for communities. Moreover, concerted efforts are underway to reduce nutrient runoff from agricultural lands and urban areas, addressing the root causes of the water hyacinth problem. The narrative reaches the Mediterranean Sea, where the Nile's journey concludes. Here, the river's delta, once a fertile breadbasket, faces an existential threat from rising sea levels. As the world warms and glaciers melt, the sea encroaches upon the land, swallowing coastal communities and contaminating freshwater sources. What will become of the millions who call the delta home? Yet, even in the face of this daunting challenge, there's hope. Innovative coastal protection measures, such as the construction of seawalls and the restoration of mangrove forests, are helping to buffer the impact of rising sea levels. Moreover, sustainable agricultural practices are being implemented to reduce soil erosion and preserve the delta's precious land resources. Each day, the sun rises over the Nile, casting its golden light on a landscape brimming with life and challenges. As climate change intensifies and human pressures mount, the river's future hangs in the balance. From Lake Tana to the Mediterranean Sea, the Nile story is one of beauty and resilience, but also of vulnerability and urgency. The animals can't adapt quickly enough to survive without our help. The choice is ours. How will we respond? How will we protect the lifeblood of a continent and safeguard the heritage of generations to come? The answer lies not just in scientific solutions or policy changes but in a collective commitment to stewardship and sustainability. By embracing our shared responsibility, we can ensure that the Nile continues to flow, nurturing life and inspiring hope for centuries to come. The time for action is now. The river is listening. Consider the ancient city of Luxor, once Thebes, a testament to human ingenuity and reverence for the Nile. Here, colossal temples and majestic tombs stand as silent witnesses to the river's profound influence on ancient Egyptian civilization. The Nile was not just a source of water and sustenance, it was a deity, a symbol of life, death, and rebirth. The annual flooding of the Nile, meticulously tracked by ancient astronomers, dictated the rhythm of agricultural cycles and shaped the very foundations of Egyptian society. But what happens when the river's flow becomes unpredictable, when the floods become too intense or too scarce? The echoes of a glorious past resonate with a stark warning for the future. Climate change threatens to disrupt the delicate balance that sustained ancient Egypt for millennia, jeopardizing not only the region's cultural heritage but also the livelihoods of millions who depend on the Nile today. Yet, even in the face of these challenges, the spirit of innovation endures. Modern archaeologists and engineers are collaborating to protect Luxor's ancient monuments from the ravages of climate change, employing cutting-edge technologies and sustainable preservation techniques. Journeying further upstream, we arrive at the Aswan High Dam, a colossal structure built in the 1960s to control the Nile's flow and generate hydroelectric power. While the dam has brought undeniable benefits, such as increased agricultural productivity and flood control, it has also had significant environmental and social consequences. The dam has altered the natural flow of the river, trapping sediment and nutrients that once fertilized downstream lands and sustained fisheries. This has led to soil erosion, reduced agricultural yields, and the decline of fish stocks in the Nile Delta. Moreover, the dam has displaced thousands of Nubian people from their ancestral lands, disrupting their traditional way of life. The story of the Aswan High Dam serves as a cautionary tale about the complex trade-offs involved in large-scale development projects. How do we balance the need for economic progress with the imperative to protect the environment and preserve cultural heritage? The answer lies in adopting a more holistic and participatory approach to development, one that takes into account the long-term consequences of our actions and empowers local communities to shape their own destinies. Reflect on the words of Dr. Jane Goodall, who once stated, "You cannot get through a single day without having an impact on the world around you." Yet, even in the face of these challenges, the spirit of innovation endures. Modern archaeologists and engineers are collaborating to protect Luxor's ancient monuments from the ravages of climate change, employing cutting-edge technologies and sustainable preservation techniques. Journeying further upstream, we arrive at the Aswan High Dam, a colossal structure built in the 1960s to control the Nile's flow and generate hydroelectric power. While the dam has brought undeniable benefits, such as increased agricultural productivity and flood control, it has also had significant environmental and social consequences. The dam has altered the natural flow of the river, trapping sediment and nutrients that once fertilized downstream lands and sustained fisheries. This has led to soil erosion, reduced agricultural yields, and the decline of fish stocks in the Nile Delta. Moreover, the dam has displaced thousands of Nubian people from their ancestral lands, disrupting their traditional way of life. The story of the Aswan High Dam serves as a cautionary tale about the complex trade-offs involved in large-scale development projects. How do we balance the need for economic progress with the imperative to protect the environment and preserve cultural heritage? The answer lies in adopting a more holistic and participatory approach to development, one that takes into account the long-term consequences of our actions and empowers local communities to shape their own destinies. Reflect on the words of Dr. Jane Goodall, who once stated, "You cannot get through a single day without having an impact on the world around you." What you do makes a difference, and you have to decide what kind of difference you want to make. This profound statement resonates deeply in the context of the Nile River, where every action, no matter how small, has the potential to ripple through the ecosystem and affect the lives of millions. Whether it's reducing our consumption of single-use plastics, supporting sustainable agricultural practices, or advocating for responsible water management policies, each of us has a role to play in safeguarding the future of the Nile. The river's fate is inextricably linked to our own, and by working together, we can ensure that it continues to flow, sustaining life and inspiring hope for generations to come. As we conclude our journey along the Nile, let us carry with us a renewed sense of purpose and a deep commitment to stewardship. Let us be the guardians of this ancient river, the protectors of its vibrant ecosystems, and the champions of its resilient communities. The sun sets once more, painting the sky in vibrant hues of orange and purple, as the Nile continues its timeless flow towards the sea. Its waters carry not only life but also stories, lessons, and a profound call to action. The future of the Nile is not predetermined, it is a story yet to be written, a future that we can shape together. Let us rise to the challenge and ensure that this ancient river continues to inspire and sustain life for millennia to come. Turn your gaze toward the collaborative efforts sprouting along the Nile's course. Imagine communities uniting to combat water hyacinth in Lake Victoria. These aren't just isolated incidents, they represent a surge of collective determination, turning environmental obstacles into economic prospects. Local entrepreneurs harvest the invasive plants, transforming them into valuable resources such as compost and biogas. They're not just clearing waterways, they're cultivating opportunities, demonstrating that conservation and commerce can thrive in harmony. Envision researchers teaming up with farmers in the Nile Delta, pioneering sustainable agricultural practices that reduce soil erosion and conserve precious water resources. These aren't merely academic exercises, they're practical solutions that safeguard livelihoods and preserve the region's fertile lands. Hear the voices of the indigenous communities, the custodians of the Nile's ancient wisdom. They've lived in harmony with the river for centuries, understanding its rhythms and respecting its delicate balance. Their traditional knowledge holds invaluable insights into sustainable resource management, offering a roadmap for navigating the challenges of the 21st century. But their voices are often marginalized, their perspectives overlooked in the pursuit of short-term economic gains. The script can be more detailed and elaborate on the same points. What if we amplify their voices, integrate their knowledge into conservation strategies, and empower them to lead the charge in protecting the Nile? The power of individual action can be transformative. Envision a ripple effect that extends from local communities to global corporations, inspiring a wave of sustainable practices that ripple across industries. Remember the words of the late Wangari Maathai, the Nobel Peace Prize laureate who inspired millions with her Green Belt movement in Kenya. Each one of us can make a difference. Together we can make change. Her words resonate with particular poignancy in the context of the Nile River, where collective action is essential for safeguarding its future. What if each of us commits to making one small change in our daily lives, reducing our water consumption, minimizing our use of plastics, supporting sustainable products, and what impact would that have on the Nile? Small changes can collectively bring big changes. As the sun sets over the Nile, casting its golden glow on the water, reflect on the stories we've shared, the challenges we've explored, and the solutions we've uncovered. The Nile River is not just a geographical feature, it's a symbol of life, resilience, and interconnectedness. Its fate is inextricably linked to our own, and by embracing our shared responsibility, we can ensure that it continues to flow, nurturing life and inspiring hope for generations to come. The script could mention, this video, with your help, doesn't end here. Share your thoughts, ideas, and actions in the comments below. Let's create a community dedicated to the Nile's well-being. Click the like button to show your support and subscribe for more stories of hope and resilience from around the world. Together, we can make a difference. The river is listening. Consider ecotourism, a concept that's gaining traction along the Nile. These aren't just fleeting visits. They're immersive experiences that educate travelers about the river's ecology and cultural heritage, initiatives, while simultaneously generating sustainable tourism operations that prioritize conservation and community empowerment. Envision a future where travelers flock to the Nile not just to witness its beauty but also to contribute to its well-being. The script can be more detailed and elaborate on the same points. Expand on specific examples of ecotourism initiatives. How would this affect the long-term sustainability of the Nile? Now, look towards technological innovations that are revolutionizing the way we monitor and manage the Nile's resources. Satellite imagery, remote sensing, and data analytics provide unprecedented insights into water quality, vegetation cover, and biodiversity patterns. These aren't just abstract data points, they're actionable insights that can inform conservation strategies and guide policy decisions. What if we harness the power of artificial intelligence and machine learning to predict and mitigate environmental risks along the Nile? The script can be more detailed and elaborate on the same points. Expand on the potential applications of AI and machine learning in Nile conservation. Think about the role of education and awareness in fostering a culture of environmental stewardship. How might that change the course of the river and its inhabitants? Consider the words of Baba Diam, a Senegalese forestry engineer who famously said, "In the end, we will conserve only what we love. We will love only what we understand, and we will understand only what we are taught." It calls for an increase in educational programs, awareness campaigns, and community engagement initiatives that empower people to understand and appreciate the Nile. It will in turn foster a sense of responsibility for its protection. As the credits roll, remember that the story of the Nile is far from over. Share this video with your friends, family, and colleagues. Start conversations, inspire action, and let's make the world take notice. Leave your thoughts and suggestions in the comments below, and let's start a discussion about what actions we can take. Subscribe to this channel for more inspiring stories about nature, conservation, and the power of human action. Together, we can make a difference. The river is listening.